Alright guys, for our reflective is talking about how we can use learner assessment data to adjust our teaching practices. Any thoughts?
I think one way is by analyzing student performance on quizzes or assignment. If a lot of students are struggling with a particular concept, that tells me I might not have explained it well enough. I reflect on what teaching strategies I use and think about how I can make the lesson clear next time. But how do we really know if it is our teaching or if it is the student's learning style that's the issue?
So that's a good point. Point of blame. Break. I might notice if the issue is with them. That way, I can reflect on which area needs more focus. But here's a higher order thinking question. How can we ensure that the changes we make based on self-assessment actually lead to improved student outcome? That's challenging, but I think we need to track the effectiveness of the changes we make. For example, if I just if I adjust my teaching strategy and use more visuals, I should compare students' performance before and after the change. If I see improvements, then that's a good indication that I made the right adjustment. The real trick to this is knowing when to make those changes. So how do we determine the right time to reflect and adjust? Isa pa.
I think it's all about being proactive and constantly checking in with ourselves. Reflection should not just happen at the end of a lesson or unit. It should be an ongoing process, maybe after each class. I could take a few minutes to think about what went well and what did not. That way I can adjust my approach before the next class rather than writing until the end of the unit. So here's a Hat's question. In what ways can we incorporate student feedback into our reflective self-assessment process?
Great question. I think student feedback is crucial because it provides insights into how they perceive our teaching methods. We could ask them to fill out a short reflection form or even have a quick class discussion on what worked for them and what didn't. But we should also be careful not to let personal biases affect our reflection. How can we ensure that we remain objective in our self assessment?
That's where having a clear criteria comes in. If I'm reflecting on my lesson, I should have specific goals in mind, like whether students were able to grasp the key concept or if they were able to apply what they learned in different situations. Using rubrics or predefined success indicators helps keep me focused on the outcomes, not just how I felt the lesson went. But here's another thought. What if the lesson data is telling us that we need a major change if our teaching approach? How do we handle that?
I think if the data consistently shows a need for a major shift, that's a sign we should do more than just minor tweaks. Maybe it's time for a complete redesign of how we approach the topic. But the tricky part is how we grow in the professionals through this. If we have to make major changes, does that mean we're failing as teachers or it is just part of our growth process? I don't think it means we're failing at all. It's actually a sign of growth because we're adapting to the needs of our students. As we reflect and make adjustments, we're improving. So I think we have to see this as part of our career development. I mean, we're all learning to, right? The key is to always be open to improvement, even if that means making big changes. Let's flip this around. How can reflective self assessment help us grow in our career beyond just improving our teaching?
Great question. I think self-assessment not only help us become better teachers, but it also help us build leadership skills. For instance, by reflecting on our own practices and learning how to make adjustments, we're showing that we can take ownership of our professional growth. It also teaches us to be more self-aware and accountable, which are essential qualities for advancing in our careers. Plus, the more we reflect, the more we can mentor others and share our learning experience.
I completely agree. And let's not forget that reflective self assessment is key to staying motivated. If we're not reflecting on our progress, it's easy to burn out. By celebrating small wins like successfully implementing a new strategy, we stay engaged in our own professional journey. So, in summary, reflective self assessment is not just about improving our teaching, it's about constantly evolving and being proactive in our growth as educators. What do you guys think?
I agree, it's an ongoing process that help us become better at what we do while also helping our students succeed. I think the key is to be honest with ourselves, use assessment data wisely, and always be open to change. Reflecting on our strengths and areas for improvement make us more effective teachers and more confident in our careers.
Think about embracing the idea that growth isn't always linear. We're always being setbacks, but as long as we're reflecting and adjusting, we're moving forward.
That's the mindset we need. We should be excited about the opportunity to grow rather than afraid of making mistakes.
I think we've nailed it. Reflective self-assessment isn't just about getting better at teaching. It's about shaping ourselves into lifelong learners who are always striving to improve. I'm excited to put this into practice. All right, let's dive into how professional reflection can help us improve as teachers. To start, what do you all think is the biggest benefit of reflecting on our teaching?
I think the most obvious benefit is that it helps us see what works and what doesn't in our lessons. For example, after a lesson, I could reflect on whether my students were engaged or if they seemed lost. If they struggled with a specific concept, that gives me the chance to adjust in the future. But here's a more complex question. How can we be sure that our reflections actually lead to meaningful changes in our teaching?
Good point, student. Choose to break it down into smaller chunks next time or provide more hands-on activities. But here's a follow-up question. If you reflect and try new strategies that don't fit the how do you know if you stick with our changes or try something else?
That's tricky. I think the key is patience and flexibility. Sometimes change takes time to show results. We also need to be open to adjusting our new strategies if we don't see the impact we want. For example, after trying something new, I'd look at how students perform over time. If the results don't improve, I might ask for feedback from colleagues or students to get fresh perspectives. Here's a question. How do we balance making adjustments with staying consistent in our teaching practices?
That's a great question, Faith. I think consistency is important because students need to know what to expect. But at the same time, we can't be rigid. We should have core teaching strategies that work for us, but we also need to be flexible enough to change when something's not working. I guess the real challenge is figuring out when to adjust. Maybe it comes down to understanding the learning environment and being willing to take rest. So my hot question is, how do we make sure our reflections align with students' needs and not just what we think is best for them? Great points, Maria Jessa. I think aligning our reflections with student needs means really paying attention to the data, whether it's student feedback, assessments, or class participation. We can't just guess what students need. We have to look at the facts. For example, if many students perform poorly on a quiz, we should reflect on why that happened. Did I explain the material clearly enough? Did I give them enough practice? And that leads me to a question. How do we ensure that we're reflecting on the right things? What should we focus on in our reflection?
I think the focus of our reflection should always come back to student outcomes. If our goal is to improve student learning, then everything we reflect on should tie into that. For example, if I'm reflecting on a lesson where students struggled, I could look at what strategies I used and how they aligned with the students' learning styles. If the methods did not match their needs, I'll need to adjust. But here's a question for us. Can professional reflection help prevent burnout and stress in teachers?
Find ways to make our work more efficient. Action can also help us identify when we're just stuck in a routine and need to shake things up. So here's a deeper question. How can we use professional reflection to set long-term career goals and grow in the profession?
That's a good one. I think reflection helps us identify our strengths and areas for growth, which is essential for setting goals. For instance, if I reflect on how well I manage classroom behavior, I might realize that I need to develop better classroom management strategies. With that insight, I can set a profession goal to improve in that area. Over time, these smaller goals build up and we start to see progress in our overall teaching effectiveness. So, how do we measure the success of our reflective practices?
I think the best way to measure the success of reflection is through student performance and engagement. If we're making positive changes based on our reflections, we should see improvements in how students interact with the material, how they participate, and their overall learning outcomes. I also think we should track our own growth. For example, are we becoming more confident in our teaching? Are we taking more initiative in trying new methods? And to wrap this up, here's a final question. How can we ensure that we reflect not just on what happened in a lesson, but on our mindset as a teachers? That's a really important question. Our mindset is crucial because it affects how we approach every lesson. If we reflect only on what went wrong but never examine our attitudes toward teaching, we might miss the bigger picture. It's important to ask ourselves, are we staying positive and open to growth? Are we learning from challenges? Or are we letting frustration affect our practice? By reflecting on our mindset, we ensure that we stay motivated and passionate about teaching, even when things get tough. So, I guess the key is not just reflecting on what we did, but also on who we are becoming as educators.
Exactly. It's about developing and reflecting practice that's holistic. We need to reflect on our teaching strategies, our student outcomes, and our own personal growth as educators. Though that way we can create a continuous cycle of improvement that help us become better teachers and better people in the profession.
Right. And the more we reflect, the more we can adapt to the changing needs of our students, the school environment, and our own personal development. Reflective practice isn't just about fixing problems, it's about growing and evolving.
I agree. Reflection allows us to learn from every experience, whether good or bad, and use that learning to make ourselves better teachers every day.
Absolutely. The more we reflect, the more we improve, not just our teaching, but also our mindset and our connection with students and our growth as professionals. It's an ongoing process that keeps us motivated and engaged in our careers.